doing, man?
Doing good. Very good.
Happy to be back. Happy to be back.
It's been such a long time, 1 week.
It has been a very long time for me. It's been a struggle. I mean, I've been on the bus all week. But anyhow, we'll get to that. So I'm Jeremy.
I'm Jeff.
And together we make up a little video podcast called What More Could You Want? And we like to talk about hard shit. We like to talk about funny shit. We like to talk about some serious shit, but it's always real. And, it's just our way of getting it off our chest and hopefully helping you guys deal with some of the ins and outs of everyday life, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Right on, man. Right on.
Life in general.
Oh, geez. In general. Life in general. People in general.
Yeah.
Myself in general. Like, we say a lot on here, thank you to you, Jeff, for sharing this. Is sometimes we think the day that the universe handed us a shitty day, but we just handed the universe
a shitty version of us.
That's
exactly.
Right. That's right, man.
Yep.
So I was really doing my best to give the universe just a shit salad last week.
Oh. So it was your turn.
Yeah, it was my turn. I had a whole lot of shit going on. And I won't really get into all of it. It's not really important. It's mundane, everyday shit that added up, and I didn't have a healthy outlet. Or I didn't utilize my outlets in a healthy manner, I should say.
Yeah.
Sometimes you forget. You're like, oh, I didn't even meditate yesterday.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, wait, yesterday sort of sucked. And yesterday this, yesterday that. Well, maybe it had something to do with it. Maybe it didn't, but in my eyes, it does.
Yeah. It reminds me, I got to log mine from Sunday. I didn't put it in my thing.
Right. And I've been poor about that. I've never really monitored it.
Mm-hmm.
Some days I go longer than what I thought I was going to. Some days I've straight up panic in the middle of it.
I've just been doing it, like I said, either after the workouts. I've been doing it on to work, from work, or I'll do it like in my office, just random times. And I kind of been basing on how I feel because I was doing it after my workout, and it's a really good way to bring you back down. I kind of get my heart rate probably back to the low 100s into the 90s, and I would lay down and do my breathing and do my meditation. Now I'm just kind of finding like, when do I want it in aspect of to use it? So today I did it on the way to work. It's like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to do it on the way to work today. Go in nice and calm, which I never go in stress, so not a big deal. Or I'm like, yeah, I'll just do it before I go home. Like I've been doing it just whenever now. But I've been tracking it and doing that. It's something crazy now, like how many hours I've done it, which is I think is kind of more fun to see in the app.
Well, that's almost like a daily affirmation. It keeps you sort of charged, right?
So I'll do like 2 to 4 rounds of the breathing, breath hold, meditational thing.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I started walking more. I knew I had to change it up. I had to, do something.
Good meditation for most people. Just
so it got, it's cool and I like it. And I'm digging the cold and going out and sitting out there and doing my thing in the cold. But every once in a while, I sort of want to walk inside. Mm-hmm. I might not want to be outside that day, or maybe like yesterday or the day before, it's just pouring, just nasty. So now I'm looking for some sort of like a manual treadmill for in the house. And I think that that's a good, healthy outlet for me to say, okay, my back's a little messed up. Some of you may know, some of you may not, but I messed it up pretty good. And so now to carry a heavy load is difficult. To carry a light load for a long distance is easier, but becomes quite difficult. So anyhow, excuse me. So anyhow, something that I can no longer go do is run out in the garage and go do some squats, go do some heavy deadlifts, yell a bit, Now it's like I have to do the opposite. And
get you some blocks.
Yeah.
Pull from different heights.
Yeah, man. So one thing that I can still do, I could do until I separated my shoulder a few weeks back, was pull-ups. I love my pull-ups and I love push-ups a lot. But I want something that takes a good amount of time to where it's not just short bouts of energy going, Urgh.
You should just go up and down your steps.
Yeah, no shit, right? That's a damn good idea.
I used to do that when I needed to cut, and when I was at my parents' didn't have treadmills or any of that, bike or nothing. So I either, if I didn't have access to sometimes, but like in high school, I would just go up and down and run up and down the steps. And we had 2 floors, so I'd go to the basement, all the way up.
Yeah.
Walk down, just back and forth,
Like you're a crazy person.
Well, it's a better way to move than like I would block off the basement bathroom, put a towel, put a heater in there, and like make my own little sauna.
Yeah.
And jumping jacks, sit-ups, push-ups, and just sitting there because it's the smallest, basically
Yeah.
room in the house next to a closet,
Right.
and just would sit in there and do that.
Yeah.
But
Good idea.
no, like treadmill's good. When you want also too, like if you just want, maybe you need to be home for something, the kids, like
Right.
we got an old treadmill and I occasionally will do that, like walk on it. It's good.
Yeah.
Turn the TV on, listen to a podcast. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it can be, especially, it gets easy when you start pulling entertainment into it, right?
Yeah.
But for me, it was just something new. And that's really what I was getting at, was I was in sort of a rut of doing a lot of good things.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I didn't get out and see friends for a long time, and that started wearing on me.
I think, well, let alone the situation, no one has really like, I'm not seeing many of my friends we FaceTime, but like, limited to family, people I would normally potentially see quite often, it's just like,
Yeah. Well, I got an idea, because I messed up and I got pretty mad at my wife. And I'll just say the real reason I got mad at her, not the details. The real reason that I got mad at my wife and made sort of a bum week for myself and her, and probably my kids, was because she wasn't making me feel the way I wanted her to make me feel.
Yeah.
That's about as blatant as I can put it.
We talked about that before.
Yeah. So when somebody doesn't do something that you want them to do, you can resort to anger, which I did, which then made her sort of close off. The kids sort of ran away for a little bit. And I'm sitting there thinking, do I really, really love my wife? Or do I just love her when she's making me feel a certain way?
Tough question, but a good one.
It's a very good question. And I hope that reverberates with a lot of you, whether, in both a positive and a negative manner. So I had to contemplate on this, and I meditated with this, and I said, okay, I do love how she makes me feel. But if I don't still love her when she's not making me feel that way, there's a glitch somewhere.
I guess you could say, not to interrupt you there, like that might be like maybe how a friendship might be on a certain level, because you're not with certain, you're not with your friends 24/7. You're not with your spouses. But yeah, it's one of those things as when we all get married, depending on who says what vows or what you repeat, and everything.
Yeah.
It's, you love that person for better or worse. I love you at your best. I love you at your worst. And I think we all experience exactly what you do. Like, I'm going to say this, and this is what I'm expecting to come back. And it doesn't. I've experienced that with my wife, and I'm sure she's experienced with me. I know she has that, you're wanting that response. And it's like, that's not what I wanted. It's not exactly fine lined how they want it. It might be a little here and there. It hits bits and pieces, but it's not the fine line you were looking for.
Right.
And that makes it very difficult. But I think that also goes back to what we talked about before of not trying to put these expectations on the reaction that you expect people to get. Like, if I'm going to give you this gift and I'm expecting Jeremy to be like, whoa, and you don't do that,
right?
I just set myself up for failure and to be angry because that's what should happen. Well, if you go in with no expectation, it allows you then to take in the situation as it should. And that's more of like a stoic thing they always talk about, is like, yes, you can have excitement, sadness, anger, but going into a situation to not have an opinion, just
totally. That's magic
to
right
let
there.
it be. Yeah, it's truly like you get the gift, and whatever happens, that's the reaction.
Yeah, man.
You're going in with a blank slate.
Right.
Easier said than done.
I did not go in with a blank slate.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I think we've all gathered that. But what I did have this realization of was, if I'm expecting my wife to make me feel a certain way, okay, she goes to work, she comes home, she probably makes dinner, spends some time with the kids and me, maybe, if we can, and goes to sleep and, does it again. Well, what did I do to make her feel that she was okay and able to try to do something for me? Because I was a porcupine for a week. So if I'm a porcupine, but I want you to treat me a certain way, well, fuck, of course you're not going to.
Yeah.
And it's immature of me to think so. But I'll be goddamn if at 44 years old I don't still catch myself falling into these traps.
I think everyone is guilty of that. because you have this level of expectation at all times. Like, even with my employees, I expect them to all do this, but it's inevitable. Someone will mess up or do something slightly different. Then you got to have a talk with them like, hey,
Yeah.
try and do this if this happens again or blah, blah, blah. I think that's just human nature.
Yeah.
I think it would be, you'd have to be a true diehard stoic or, person at peace to sit there at every scenario and just goes, whatever happens, happens.
So I got 2 words for you. All right. So first and foremost, folks, if you don't get it yet, what we want to talk about today is, do you love someone or do you love how that person makes you feel?
Maybe the idea.
Yeah, the idea, right. So obviously, if you say you love someone and you're constantly finding yourself mad at them, maybe you're not loving them from the right place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I told myself to try to get myself in that right place to be, because I know I love my wife, I love her dearly. I don't love her because we got 2 kids or just because we've been married for 25 damn years. So what I told myself was, do you love her or do you just love how she makes you feel? And I answered myself. I said, I fucking love her. And then I said these 2 fucking words. I said, prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it, motherfucker. Do what you say you want to do and do it. And then I bet you get a lot fucking happier yourself. Right?
That's a very good point.
So that's where I'm at right now.
Well, no, and I think that's the whole topic of conversation. Do you love somebody or the idea of it, or, I think many people experience that, and it's been talked about, for probably eons of no different than let's go to your workout equipment. New year, this time of year, I'm going to get this trim. I'm going to get this bike. Yeah. I'm going to get it's going to make me feel great. I'm going to do this. Is it really going to do that? Or is it just the idea of it, having it, going to, I feel great, as many people do, going back to that topic we had before, whatever, I can't even think of it now, that of treadmill term I was talking about when I had to call in, you and Josh. But
oh yeah, I can't remember the damn name.
I had to look it up in my notes, but
shit. Sorry, man.
Oh yeah, but like, you're trying to find an object or a person, thinking that this person or this materialistic object will fill this void of love, when in reality, the person could fill the void. Yes, materialistic object should never.
For a while.
Yes, but how long does that last? Yeah. And it kind of ties with you of, do I love the idea of this person for how they make me feel at this time, or do I love them when they piss me off, when they make me feel like shit, when we fight, or do you love, you got to look at all those subcategories. Do you love them for the all? Like my wife and I, we've gotten into it before, as everyone does, and it's like, oh, I hate you, but you hate each other for the moment. You don't hate each other for the long haul. Yeah, my wife and I would like have that, and like, I hate you too. It's for the moments of being a smart ass or the disagreement, whatever. But the whole is, after that dust, the fire that settles, you still come back to love.
Yeah, you both find center.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
And I think a lot of people try to find people, as you're saying, that fill that, I love you, but it's the idea of that person feeling the love. And I think that's what a lot of people, maybe I can't say a lot, but a lot of people who don't have serious relationships, who just bounce around, sorry if that offends you, but a lot of people who just jump,
right,
thinking that person is going to fill that void.
Yeah, totally.
And then it's like, well, you didn't, so I'm going to go there, here. And there's other psychological things behind that
right,
go into it. But
makes sense.
I think that's a lot of people in this day and age can relate to, since we're a instant gratification society. Marriage is what I think a 50-50 flip now.
Yeah, I think it's less, actually.
Could be. Yeah. Depending on your profession, it's 70-80%.
Yeah.
Divorce rate, versus your 20% success. So we live in a crazy world that there's so many stimuli that it's like, oh, that makes me feel good. And it goes. I actually talked about it in the Daily Stoic today from Ryan Holiday, talking of Seneca and a couple of other Stoic Greek leaders, talking about you go to this mountain, you do this one thing for the instant feel-good gratification. How long does it really last?
Right.
Cool. Now what do I do to get back to this peak, that quick high?
Yeah.
Okay. And you keep finding things to fill the void when you don't step back to look at the bigger picture of what are things that are solidified and solid in my life that should make me feel at the peak of this mountain at all times.
Yeah.
Your kids, significant other outside things, family, friends, those should make you feel here, not, oh, I did that. Cool.
Yeah.
That wore off. Cool. Now what am I going to do? That wore off. You should not be looking for quick highs, so to speak. It should be something that could keep you here.
Yeah.
You know, at the moments you tumble and fall in a fight, but you climb back up.
Well, something that I started sort of laughing about to myself, I guess, at least not outwardly. I'd hate to make her think I was being a dick, but I get so upset at some things, particular things when they happen or if things go awry, yada, yada, yada. But the more that I sit back and think about it, the more I realize that we both do these exact same things to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fucking like a mirror to each other. We project our shit on each other fucking every other minute of the day.
Yeah.
And I'll be gosh damn if you could just somehow both come to an agreement that, hey, when you piss me off or when I piss you off, this is the steps we're going to take. You know, something's got to be there. It can't be rigid.
Oh,
but there's got to be some box to play in.
Thich Nhat Hanh's book, How to Fight.
Oh yeah, there's that.
that book, guys. So
that's so much easier to read than to live.
It's how to fight, not learn how to fight.
How
to fight. It is a pocket book. It is tiny. By Thich Nhat Hanh. If that's how you say it.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I probably butchered the last part of it, but probably a $5-6 book on Amazon. Got some good Sumi ink turned into orange, not the typical black, but Sumi ink drawings to go with it. But it's a phenomenal little read, but it exactly is what Jeremy is saying. It teaches you when you're having the fight, if I'm having the fight with you, the steps I should be taking to accommodate to you to not worsen it, and then vice versa when it's me.
Correct.
And it's a great little read. You could really knock it out in a day.
I forgot all about it.
It's simple, but that's exactly it.
Good.
That's a good one to read back. You know what? I might pull that one out of put it off the shelf and read that one. That's a good one that just literally, it does exactly that. It teaches you how to have an altercation with somebody, to think from your perspective, but to think in the other person's shoes, what's going through them. And I think if we could all take that little thought process, we'd have a much better society, but obviously that's not going to happen.
Right.
You know, we're literally this line. I'm here, you're there. Nope.
Right. Yeah. So I'll add on one more thing to my thought about this whole thing. And is like, when you say, okay, I do you love someone or do you love them just how they make you feel? I'm not saying that you're being vindictive or doing this maliciously. Think of it more like, do I show them how much I love them even when they're not showing me the love?
Mm-hmm.
That's another way to look at this, I think. So I'm not trying to offend. I'm not trying to poke a bear at the zoo here. You know, this is just something that some of us, that all I can speak to is myself, and I'm a guy, so I can speak to me and some guys, I guess. But I think most of us could probably admit that we don't at least show that we love the other person as much as we should, even when maybe they're in a moment of crisis and they're weak and they don't show the same thing back. They don't reciprocate. It's so much easier said than done here on this microphone and with these speakers, but But if we maybe all think about it every once in a while, we can catch ourselves once a month or once a week or whatever, and then maybe it's once a day you catch yourself. Who knows? Maybe, you never know. Maybe it becomes a habit.
Well, yeah, if you just catch yourself once, that's a win.
Yeah.
It's no different than in coaching when you're teaching an athlete something and they start to catch their mistakes. They notice they're learning. Yeah. And that's the same thing we got to do in our daily lives. What bad habits do we need to pick up and throw out? What do we need to keep? It's kind of like Bruce Lee said, keep what is useful and let go of what is useless. Kind of paraphrase there, but that's so true. Like, what good habits should I be instilling and trying to keep? What I need to do, and Yeah. I try daily, but again, you have those days where it's just like, it's all out the window.
Mess up, man.
Fuck it, and here we go.
Yeah.
But those are things to think about. If you can catch one, like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You're already winning, and you're not going to catch every one. No different than, you could, like a batter in the box.
Yeah, dude.
You're not going to hit every pitch.
Yep.
And you guys got to look at it that way. But the more you're focused on it and you actually pay attention to it and it's part of your thought process, eventually you should start to maybe mellow it out and see what you're doing right or wrong.
Well, okay, so we've all been doing these things for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, however old we are. So let's say that my stone or my mountain, whatever, me, took 44 years to get to where I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm made of all of those thoughts in this vacuum, just like a tornado. These thoughts have been going around in my head for 44 years, and I ain't ever put a stop to it until just now. Fuck. So you mean to tell me it's going to take another 44 years to undo all this, maybe? Yeah, maybe.
It might.
Maybe you never do undo all of this.
Yeah.
Maybe you get an inkling of the way, but it's so much better, and you can't even imagine if it was any better. I don't know.
Well, everyone has to look at yourself as an addict. That's may not be the best phrase to use, but every human being is an addict.
Yeah, hell yeah.
In a sense, we all have our, not vices like, alcohol, drugs, those types of addictions, but we are all addicts in the sense of we all conform to our old bad habits. You conform to those negative thoughts or whatever thoughts that you have. You conform to those things day in and day out. And like Jeremy just said, it could take 44 years. In my case, it might take me another 37 years, or maybe it takes me 5 years or 10 years.
Right.
Maybe in a year. Just poof. You never know. But
maybe I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's just that attention, how much attention to the detail of that do you put? And I don't think many of us truly focus on those areas as we should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what if we didn't so much pay attention to the time and the constraint that we place on things as the actual doing or the subject or the thing, and you get lost in it, and all of a sudden time escapes you, right?
Well,
We've all been there.
That's where we should be, is let it happen. It takes how long it takes. Like many parents in martial arts, how long will it take for my kid to get a black belt? And any of you parents who ever want to put your kids in martial arts, the correct answer should always be, it will take as long as it takes. Each child, each student is different. It should take them as long as it takes them. Yes, there's a rough time frame. Some are faster, some are slower than others. But there should be, in 5 years, guaranteed you have a black belt. Well, good. Are they really that good of a black belt in 5 years? Or did you just rush them through just to get them this,
Mm-hmm.
College is the same way. Yeah, college is 4. Some takes 5, 6, some less.
Yeah,
There's really no speed to it if you do it correctly.
Well, yeah, and part of doing it is, we talk about getting better, and, me getting better at being a better father or husband or just a better me, and then letting that sort of reverberate off into those other little silos, if you will. We can all try just a little bit, and we do get better. Mm-hmm. We don't put a time limit on it. Well, you know what? I'm going to get on that treadmill on the 17th. No, just do it now, because that's what you know that your body and your mind needs. Take action with your marriage if it needs it. Mm-hmm. If you can admit to yourself, you can be a big enough man, woman, or whatever it is that you identify as, and admit that you may have some skin in the game and you may have thrown a couple knives just like the other person did. Mm-hmm. And maybe you both just want the same shit, and you're addicted to doing the same old shit. So you can't do new shit that you know is going to be better shit.
Sometimes the best attack plan is having no plan at all.
Right? I can see that, man.
Kind of going in very open-minded.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, when you go to work out, you got a plan. And that's to stick to regimen. Like when I do heavy bag work, I have no plan of action. Literally, I will rotate between the 3 bags, or I'll put one on the ground. I'll do like ground and pound one with one of my extra bags. I do that type of thing. But all I set is my rounds and my time. And then I just go in, okay, maybe I want to work southpaw for all the rounds on the double end bag. I'm going to go southpaw. Then maybe I'm going to work blah, 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 blah on my aqua bag, then the Muay Thai bag, then ground up. Like, I just go with what I feel at that time.
Yeah.
And they're like, ooh, that feels a little rusty. And then this is what we're going to do every time we get to this bag.
Right.
It's just, it flows. And versus sticking to that plan. And that's sometimes you got to do. Like,
so, okay. So you're talking about a relationship, couple or a few people, whatever you're down with. And you have things that you feel like are not being addressed. Hold on before you say anything.
Keep going.
So you either haven't been addressed, you haven't been heard, you haven't been 1, 2, 3, yada, yada, yada. I think the answer to that, back at yourself now that I've had some time to sort of get a little bit more introspective, is always yourself.
True. I'd say most of the time it always is you.
I mean, unless somebody's just really vindictive and just a shitty person, which that's always, I mean, you're going to have an instinct to know, okay, this is not me.
All those. But yeah, I think that's a good way to put it of, if you're coming home, you or your wife, like, you don't know what day they had. Maybe you haven't spoke to them. One of those kind of days. You haven't talked to, maybe it was just been a few random texts. Is come home with that open mind of, I'm not going to, as soon as you see go, floodgates, blah, 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 this bullshit, this is shit, this is shit, this, you're not going to put on all that energy to them. Just sit there and go, well, how was your day? And let them maybe kind of vent and put off what happened in their day, and yours just goes to the wayside.
Yeah. You know, I did that, dude. The other night I was in my office and I had some light video editing to do. And it was like the last thing of my day. And I really do enjoy doing it when I'm not under a time crunch. Mm-hmm. It's sort of therapeutic. So wife isn't home yet. The kids are doing something. It might have been music lessons or something. I don't remember. But the point is, I had some time. No sooner than I get like knuckle deep into this video I'm editing, she walks in, and it's not like what I experienced was like, just like, hey, here's how my day went, and I got everything really quickly, like fire hose. And I couldn't stop myself from just saying something really shitty. And I was like, do you see that I'm busy? Like, it was really arrogant and really just flippant. And she was like, what? And she was just communicating.
Yeah.
And I was being a dick. But I put it all right back on her. I said, you see, I'm busy. I'm trying to work. I've been working all day. Blah, blah, fucking blah. Forgive me. And then that started a whole new thing. Mm-hmm. When I should have just said, okay, that sounds like a lot. Can you give me like 5 more minutes and we can finish talking about it, or, whatever. And just in the moment though, man, you get addicted. You go back to your addiction. You go back to not loving how the person is all the time. How they, you do the opposite of what you should do. And all of a sudden you're in this fucking tornado or a tumbleweed, as we've said in the past. And it's so difficult to claw yourself out of that, much like when someone is depressed. How do you get them out of being depressed? You don't just say, here's a lollipop and it's sunny outside. They don't give a shit. How do you pull yourself out of that? And I'm not asking you yourself, but just as a people, it'd be really cool if, like, right in the middle of that storm, you could calm yourself.
You gotta step out of yourself and
yeah.
You're like, oh, hey.
How did you add like more fuel to this fire?
Yeah, right. And that's a very hard thing especially when you're really focused on something. I know that gets me too, and I know that's for a lot of people. You're really focused. You're doing something. Then all of a sudden it's just like, what? It breaks that train of thought. But that's where I'm guilty of this. I think everybody is. You just got to sit there and kind of be like, yeah, what do you need? And kind of stop.
And here's the real ugly part of this. I would be willing to bet, if most of us were honest with ourselves, had your phone buzzed while you were editing said video, and I'm speaking to myself, I would have looked down at it and seen what it was. That's just some honest shit, man. Yeah.
No, I'll do that too.
And you got to be able to admit that kind of shit to yourself.
I'll do that too. If I'm working on something, I'll look at it, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Depending on who it is, like, client, wife, like, ooh, better, depending what it said, need to respond. But yeah, like sometimes just try to be as fast to respond as possible. But
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's some of the toughest realization and like internalization that I've had to do in the past few years. It was just to flat out realize that no matter what my problem is, the answer is always me. It might be me taking a walk. It might be me shutting the fuck up. It might be me sitting down and eating a piece of pie. I don't know. But it's always me. And if that's a good me, that's up to me.
Yeah.
Right? If it's a bad me, it's up to me, not the person that I fucking yelled at on the phone, not the person that cut me off in traffic. Me.
Yeah. No one should be controlling your emotions but yourself. No outside events, no human, no nothing. You control your own happiness, as you guys have heard us say that. Like, there's no outside force. Your wife, your children, significant other, whomever it may be, no human being, no materialistic object, no pet creates happiness. You either create it yourself or it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
You first have to create it. Then if you already naturally have happiness because of yourself, those people, other objects, pets, things like that, that will increase your happiness.
Yeah, and they actually come to you in a more happy manner too. Like when you're really throwing off and that truly just wonderful light, that energy, the others that come around you, they're of the same ilk, so to speak. You know,
I guarantee you that your dogs know when you're in a bad mood.
Oh,
for sure.
Yeah. My dog stayed away from me last week, and I really needed him. You know, I really could have used Cade, my service pup, but I knew. I was like, well, no shit, she doesn't want to be around you. You know, you're being a dick, you know, and rightfully so. So, you know, I've got more work to do, and that's okay.
And that's what it is. We're an ongoing project.
Oh, yeah, never ends.
If you think of yourself as a completed masterpiece, you're sorely mistaken, you know. No different than a bodybuilder. Each show is trying to aesthetically look like this. You know, as that one picture is, it shows the big chunk of granite like a blob of a person, and they're chiseling away their own self. Like, you guys got to think of yourselves as a never-ending sculpture, painting, whatever it may be, book. I always tell people, you know, you're never-ending book. Right. Each new journey is a new chapter, you know, man. Like, and who's to say how long a chapter is? Chapter could be, you know, you could say right now, I'm on just chapter 1, and I've been alive for 37 years. Okay, hard to argue, but you could say it.
Yeah.
You could be on chapter 10,000 at whatever point in your life. You look at your life in those kind of small steps, but you're continuing to write your story, pave your path, carve, paint, whatever yourself. It should always be an ongoing process. No different than anything you always heard. You should always be learning.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of useless to this, you know, kind of useless to society if you're not trying to better yourself day in, day out.
Well, it's again, we get addicted to who we are. We get addicted to how we've been. We get addicted to how we've felt. It's like, I don't know how to feel any different. When Jeff says X, Y, or Z to me, I feel this way. If Jeff was to say this and I'm not prepared for it, I would definitely not feel that way anymore. Okay, it's crazy, but we all do it.
Oh, yeah.
And we just keep repeating it, you know, and I guess some of us, myself included, for some reason have started to realize that we've got to start, you know, polishing outside. It's taking care of ourselves, you know, not letting everything catch on us and spur us and make us pissed off and rough around the edges, if you will. You know, if you're out in space, you don't want to be hitting on shit. You want smooth sailing, right?
Yeah.
And that's how we should strive to be. It's not going to happen overnight. And even when you get really good at it, you're still going to screw up, I'm sure. I mean, I definitely don't know, but I'm sure you do. But I'll tell you this, I've been able to, with my own tools that I have, that I've gotten myself, whether it's meditation or walking or silence or fasting or whatever, or cannabis or mushrooms even sometimes, I've realized how much I have not shown a lot of people how much they mean to me, because I've been too worried about how I felt about me. And I don't mean that, at least I don't think I mean that in like an American Psycho kind of way. I mean trying to make myself better, but at the expense of worrying about what other people were doing or needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we're all doing this.
I'd probably say in some shape or form, for sure.
You know, again, it's just a feeling, but it's 100% sincere, you know, and that's how I feel. I feel absolutely horrible. You know, that compassion starts to kick in, and I feel horrible that I haven't reached out to certain people, or I haven't even shown my own wife the kind of love that she deserves, because I've been so just stuck, you know, being addicted to that pain that I've had for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And that story and that pain and that story and that pain, and it fucking never stopped. Well, hopefully we can polish it up a bit again. You know,
and it may never stop. It just, like you're saying, you got to polish it and deal with it as it comes about. It might get pushed down and it comes to light again, and you push it down, and that's no different. With anything, you're gonna have moments that something pops up, triggers something, a bad memory, an event, a date. It brings those things to surface, and it's like, you might be a little rough around the edges. Polish things up, smooth, we're good. Think about it, concentrate on it, understand what we're trying to change and do.
Yeah.
And then it comes around maybe a year later, maybe 2, 3, maybe 5+. But it's always those things that when they emerge, like you said, being conscious and trying to understand that, oh, I got to polish this up a little bit. I got to clean myself up here.
Get the old rag out and give the boots a shining, So I digress a bit. Earlier in this episode at the beginning, I said that what had bothered me throughout the week was normal, day-to-day stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be a liar if I didn't tell you the truth about this. So last week was about loss.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff and I had recorded the episode and everything was great until we realized that I hadn't deleted some of the old episodes from our cards, and we lost the second half of the entire episode.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just me rambling on about my side of the episode. So I was very, very happy that we did not lose yours by all means.
We could have sped it again if we had to.
Right. So anyway, I'll get to the point here. The reason why I allowed my week, or I started to give the universe a shitty version of myself, is because when I was a little kid, my football coach and his wife and my good friend, the Roths from Troy, Illinois here, they were the ones that picked me up to go to practice, football practice. They fed me, hell, I think they bought me cleats, took me down to Florida to be part of a national championship tournament in middle school, which is just such a wonderful experience that I did have in my life. And I had Clark and Sharon and Tommy to thank for that by large part. Well, Tommy and I have always remained close. He didn't have siblings, and I didn't live with mine for a long time, especially during that part of my life. And he and I became very close, given that we were constantly around each other. And, on any given day of the week, I had my hand under his crotch to receive the football. So, we were pretty close. Well, Coach Clark Roth, he passed away some time ago. It's been years now. And that was tough, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a father figure for me when I needed one most. Time helped to heal the wound, Well, I get a phone call from my wife, and it's Clark's wife, Sharon, had passed away in her sleep. So Tommy's now lost his father and his mother. I lost my mind, dude. Lost my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't comprehend losing my mom now that I'd had my dad for even just a short period of time.
Yeah.
So this level of compassion in me went through the roof, but I fell into this depression about it because I didn't want Tommy to feel that.
Mm-hmm.
And shit, I didn't want me to feel that,
You put up the barrier for the person who is grieving more, you think, and you
Right.
hide yours, and in the same time frame, when you yourself need to be grieving, you're not doing it because you're trying to put up the wall for the person to be strong for them.
Right.
When in reality, you all need to grieve,
Yeah.
whether together or apart. But yeah, you didn't allow yourself to feel as you needed.
Yeah. So that day I waited the whole day. I just thought I'm going to wait till he's done with dinner or whatever it was. And it ended up being just before dinner time. And I called him with the intent of leaving a voicemail and trying to keep my shit together.
Mm-hmm.
And I was blown away. He picked up the phone. I didn't know what to say.
Mm-hmm.
It was all of a sudden I was lost for words. I said something like, I'm sorry, man. I love you. My family loves you guys. And it's shaking us too,
Yeah.
And it's all I could do to get it out. And it's all he could do to get out a few words too. But it had me down in the shitter so hard all week, man. And I just forgot all about all the hard work that I put in to be a better person, to not allow myself to fall into this trap again. But man, if you didn't hit the nail on the head earlier today, you go back to that addicted place.
Mm-hmm.
We are addicted to that pain that can be inflicted, but we don't ever deal with it. It's weird. It's like we keep going back to that same place, but like scared children, it's like we're stuck in quicksand.
Yeah.
You know, and then something catches your attention for a while, and then you're stuck in quicksand again.
We as adults put ourselves in those situations all the time when we are the ones who most of the time can fix it.
Yeah.
We go right back to that safe place, which is typically a horrible place, especially mentally. It's like, oh, I'm just going to go there. Why?
Yeah.
You see what it does to you and all that. And sometimes you'll get pulled in without wanting to be. And I think last week you got pulled in.
Yes.
Without it. Because obviously, again, no one expects death, even though like Stoics say you should always be on, death should be a part of your thought process.
Well, you can't.
And I know this sounds, morbid, but like as this time ticks away, inevitably every person on the planet is ticking one step closer to their death.
Yep.
It's just reality. But
Yep.
yeah, even if you prepare for it, it doesn't matter.
It hits you so
It's
hard.
going to hit
right?
you no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally, man. And it hit me. It hit me that hard. It popped me right in the mouth, and I didn't know how to respond, so I ran away. And well, I'm just glad I caught myself in a week and not a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, man? So anyway, I don't know, Tommy or you or your wife Katie are listening. We love you, of course. We send all of our best to you guys, and all you have to do is let me know, and I'll be in the car and on the way there.
Yeah, prayers for your family.
Absolutely, man. You need your homie. I'll be there because, I could use you sometime too. So, sending you some love, buddy. So, anyway, Jeff.
No, like I said,
Yeah.
So we talked about last week. Loss is never easy. Dealing with death, no matter if it's expected or not. Like just recap. Talking about my father last week that passed when I was an infant.
Yeah.
It never a thing you can expect, but it all goes back to how you deal with that is. What are you doing for yourself now?
Yeah.
That inevitably, if one of those unfortunate incidents comes, that you don't go backwards and fall into those negative, addictive old ways that, yes, have your moment of grief, sadness, shed those tears, be with the ones you love. Let it all out as you're due, and it's proven that that's healthy. But then also think of, okay, what am I doing to push myself forward? Honor the person whose life we just lost by not being this old bad habit person. And again, we're all guilty of it.
Yeah.
But it's a way of keeping that ball rolling in the right direction.
Yeah, and that's where all that hard work comes in, I think. I think the longer that you do the hard work, the probably quicker it is that you rebound.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not that you don't fall down, into the quicksand or whatever you want to call it, but you get back quicker.
Yeah.
You're not down so long or so much, so hard, I guess. Excuse me. So, so, back to what I was talking about at the beginning here was, do you love somebody or do you love how they make you feel? And I do want to shed some light on the other side of this, because when I'm with my friends, my real friends that just I know, there's a few that just have my back. They do make me feel a certain way, but it's like I'm a better me. It's like I can be a more expressive me, like I can be me.
It's kind of like the teammates that uplift you to pull out the best.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, totally. So there is a part of, that give and take of relationships, whether it's your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, your lover, your best friend, whatever, that you have to respect. There's always going to be times when you're going to feel better than they do and vice versa. And it's okay to really enjoy how people make you feel.
Yeah.
But damn it, give it back.
Yeah.
Always give it back. Give everything back. Give first. And when you don't get it, you'll get it.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't be looking for it, Yeah.
I agree.
Right on, man. Well, that about wraps it up for me, man. I'm exhausted.
No, I bet. Because we originally had talked, like last week, we were going to kind of talk about this, and I threw that spur of the moment kind of, pulled in the specialty play here all of a sudden. But yeah, no, it's a good topic to, when you guys listen to this, think about that with people you have relationships with. Or I would also turn it as like a final thought. Whether you're looking at someone in your life as a person, look at the objects that you've surrounded yourself with in your life, and do they bring you happiness and love? Because I know people love inanimate objects. Or is it the idea of having said object a monetary thing of happiness? Like when you see it, does it instantly make you go, "Oh, yeah, I remember that"? Like maybe it's something from the past that has a good story or something, like something cool. And or, that makes sense. Or a picture. Or is it something you just bought because, oh man, that'd be so cool? Or it's something you're just trying to stroke your own ego with to have, That's another way of looking at it. You can look at what Jeremy talked about in ways of looking at relationships with other people. And I think you can really apply it to objects and things in your life that you're trying to fill a void with that just brings on this monetary moment of happiness, then fleets because, oh, cool, I got it. That's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, we better not talk people into giving away too much shit because I don't think we got anywhere to put it all. We all got a lot of shit.
Well, there's places that'll take it, man.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, Jeff, thank you for being here today.
Always, man. Pleasure.
Been a pleasure. Yes, absolutely. Guys, next week we have got a wonderful guest coming on. I'm not going to spoil it, but he's a plant research scientist from the St. Louis area here, and we hope you join us. We've got some high expectations for questions, and we hope he's bringing his A game.
Absolutely.
And we look forward to seeing him and you guys again. Until then, we love you guys, and that's that.
Cool.
Peace. See you.
Not too loud, not too loud.